We're going to make one change. Angie Chen has a prior engagement, so she's going to have to be moved up the list. So we're going to have her come out first. And we're going to change this up a little bit because one of the rules to participate in this forum is that you have to take questions from the audience. So we're going to go ahead and let her speak for a minute and a half, and we're going to ask her the questions, and then we'll open it up immediately for the audience if anybody has any specific questions for Ms. Button. All right, yeah, we're ready. You got a minute and a half. Tell us who you are and why you're still ready.
Good evening, my conservative fellow people, Tea Party people, Republicans. How are you? Yes, this is your state representative, Angie Chen for District 112. Before I talk about myself, let me just share a story happened to me today. I was working late in my office and almost forgot about lunch. And finally realized I need to go get a lunch. So I ran to the parking lot, tried to get into the car, and a friend of mine stopped me at the parking lot. I said, "Hey, Angie, you're going to go to grab a bite?" I said, "Exactly." He said, "Go to McDonald's and ask for an Obama meal." So what do you mean that? Well, he said, just order anything you want and as many as you want from the menu. And when the cash register runs out the bill, you just turn around and point the person behind you and say, asking to pay for it. This is the problem. As being a conservative Republican, and this is my first term, I served you diligently in the House of Representatives. And I currently serve on the Appropriations Committee. You know that's why I'm watching every buck of yours. And I also serve on the Economic Development and Technology Committee. Well, you probably learned from now that I have this charming English. That's because, hey, I wasn't lucky enough to be born in this great country, but I know the only way to come here is come here legally.
Support for a House Speaker, and if so, who, and if you have not, why?
Okay, this is a very, very touchy issue. Right now, we have, out of 150 state representatives, we have 77 Republicans and 74 Democrats. And during last session, we only had 76 Republicans, 74 Democrats. But what happened is, where one Democrat knows he's not going to get re-elected, so he switched the party. And last year, during the session, one of the senior Republican members had a heart attack. So you see, having a very, very important role as being the speaker, because you set agenda. And that's why even everybody is telling me I'm very, very safe in my district. I still campaign very hard to make sure my conservative fellow Republicans, which you're going to meet in a few minutes, like Stephanie Carter, Joe Driver, and Cindy Berger, they all going to get elected. So when we have a well, I won't say super majority, that probably will be wishful thinking. But when we have a strong majority, we will make great things happen. And right now, I think it's all depends on the election results.
So you don't have a candidate. You don't have a candidate House Speaker in mind.
The current House Speaker is Joe Strauss.
I mean,
Who are you supporting, Ms. Button?
Just like many of my fellow Republicans, we signed up for Joe Strauss because, hey, listen, instead of attacking your fellow Republicans, let's make sure we get more conservative Republicans get elected first before we can do anything else.
Great, thank you. Considering that redistricting will consume the 2011 session, are you prepared to press the governor for a special session to pass a Texas version of the Arizona and Oklahoma illegal immigration law?
as you heard what I mentioned earlier during my little introduction, I came here as a legal immigrant. So when I read about the Arizona law, I was very moved. It's really not about discrimination. It's about the security, yes, it's about the border security. It's about the integrity. It's about to be a great American. You don't come here just for economic purpose. You come here because you share the same value, all American values.
Have you put that in place since you're an incumbent?
I'm sorry,
Are you currently pressing the governor to do something similar to Arizona and Oklahoma?
I have talked to a lot of people, and I have not get a chance to talk to the governor in person, but I have talked to a lot of people. But I think I hate to say this, but you have to realize the fact is the governor has a good point. That is, it's also about the budget, okay? Because if you push too hard, that means the federal think way Texas need to pick up all the costs, even that should go to the federal. So that's his concern. But I'm not here to defend the governor's position. I'm here to tell you I truly believe the spirit of Arizona law is absolutely great, and we need to make that happen.
All right, what is your plan for protection from mandates that you consider unconstitutional?
Unfortunately, I think the federal probably have more this kind of problem. At the state level, well, I should say, fortunately, state level, we have less kind of this kind of issue. So I will continue to watch for that, but I don't think it has turned out to be a major issue at the state level this time.
Thank you. Do we have questions for Ms. Button so she can go to her prior engagement? Right here.
Oh, I was born in Taiwan, which is a long time airline of the United States of America. Actually, I became a Republican even before I became a U.S. citizen. That's because Senator Barry Goldwater is the one definitely pushed for the U.S. government to protect the freedom of Taiwan. And the other day I was talking to a couple people also immigrated from China. They told me they're so worried about the way our country is heading to. They said if they like a socialist country, they would stay in China instead of coming here. And we just need to win back what we come to about what our people deserve. And we're going to continue to work hard. Okay.
Hey, anyone else? Right up here.
Can you explain what you mean by your concept of the mandate question?
You ask me?
Yes, please.
Okay. For example, like we had a round table last Saturday. Believe me, I work even Saturday. We had 7 round tables. One of them is the education roundtable, talk about various education issues. And we had teachers, principals, homeschoolers, students, professors talk about this issue. And a lot of complaints about the mandates interfere with the school board's decision and incur a bunch of costs which were not on their budget, and they have to pick it up. And my answer to them is I believe in local control and giving the local people who knows the best to make the right decision. So tell the truth, if any elected officials come in here and tell you that they know all the answers, don't ever vote them back. Because sometimes we don't even know all the questions. So the only way to do the right thing is stay close with the people and listen to the people. I might not speak perfect English, but I spend more time listening to the people. For example, the case I gave it to you. Saturday, from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock, I was sitting there listening to people coming to meet me and give me their ideas about how to cut the budget. One very interesting issue is several school teachers tell us that there are so many unnecessary tests in school. Okay, even you have a perfect score this time, couple months later, you have to take another one, and that's expense behind that the testing. So why don't you waive those tests if one student can prove that he has been an A+ student for this semester, wait for next semester, so we can reduce the cost.
Thank you, Ms. Button. Thank you.
Well-
Anybody else have a question?
Okay.
Yes, you mentioned that you were supporting Joe Strauss, who, for the record, was the Democrats' choice for Speaker last time. As you know, probably Leo Berman is running for Speaker. Could you explain why Joe Strauss is a better candidate for Speaker than Leo Berman?
I tell you what, I really do not like to elaborate on that topic very much, because later on my colleagues, like Representative Joe Driver, he probably can share you the insights about that issue. Leo is a good man, but the bottom line is he does not have the votes. Okay? If we have more conservative Republicans get elected, and if we have a better candidate, let's talk about that. And right now, if somebody promised you the world, but the things don't turn out to be the way it's supposed to be, I'm not going to damage my own credential, because when I go back to Austin, I'm going to work for people in my district and in our region. I'm not going to put in such a poor position that I cannot function effectively. I serve on the Appropriations Committee. I save Texans a lot of money. So please, I do not want to put myself into such an awkward position.
Okay, thank you. One more question?
Are you a member of the Texas Conservative Coalition?
Thank you very much. Actually, I have this press release right here. I have been graded as one of the most conservative members in the House out of the 150 members. Actually, I have been graded by several very reputable organizations as one of the top conservative Republican in our region. And this is my press release that I'm going to deliver to you. We pledge to balance the budget without raising taxes. We pledge to limit federal intrusion. We pledge to improve election integrity. We pledge to cut taxes. We pledge to secure the Texas border. And this is my pledge. And I keep my promise. Check around. That's what I did last time. I'm going to continue to do this time. And I'm going to do.
Thank you for coming.